The Textron Corporation, and specifically Beechcraft, makes some of the most iconic twin and single-engine airplanes, I would argue, in the world. From the A36 Bonanza to this Baron 58 in front of us, the King Air 350, that's a Duchess, the King Air 350, the 1900D, so on and so forth. Beechcraft has made quite a few iconic twins. And today we're going to look at one of the, in my opinion, most iconic, the coolest, objectively speaking, and least sold aircraft in Beechcraft's lineup. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Flight Simulator 2024. Welcome to Wichita, Kansas, the Beechcraft factory, and the Beechcraft Starship. I almost said 1900D. This is arguably one of the coolest airplanes, just by looks, ever brought to market. It was a tremendous commercial failure. They built 53 of them, and I think there's only 5 still flying today. And Beechcraft hates that. They want to bring them all back and crush them and get rid of them. But we'll talk a little bit about the history of the Starship, but I'm most interested in Black Square, the developer's work in this aircraft. It is fantastic. Spoiler, like a lot of the other things they make. I think Black Square is very rapidly becoming my favorite, most trusted developer, and you'll see why with the Starship and maybe another airplane or two in the future. Anyway, we're going to give this airplane the standard sample treatment, walking around first and foremost, looking at textures. Then we're going to take a listen to the sounds of the Starship, and oh boy, are they good. And then we'll obviously get it up in the air, get it flying, and that's it. Without further ado, let's begin. So per usual, I'm about 6 months late to the release of this. This came out earlier in the year, but still a relatively new addition to the sim. I definitely am loving it, and it's definitely a 2024 ready aircraft in most cases. The textures are a little bit of a mixed bag. I love the crazing that you can see on the external window there, but as you get up close, stuff like the wing light texture kind of falls, I don't want to say falls apart, but isn't quite as tight as like the locking pin indications. The step textures are kind of rough. They're not bad, but just as a full package, it seems like certain things are a higher texture than others. All in all, it's good though, especially compared to, I don't know if you guys have seen that yet, but if you have seen it, you know what I'm talking about, and if not, you'll find out soon. Another aircraft that costs over twice as much as this, and oh boy, it's rough. Obviously, fully removable chocks, gear pins. You saw me take those out earlier. The engine covers as well. It stashes all of those in the cabin as well, which is really cool. We'll take a look at that once we make our way inside. There's just lots of nice little Easter eggs that you wouldn't normally expect. One of which is the propellers on the rear here. You can individually push them so that they're aligned like this, with that number 6 plate in the 6 o'clock position, so that you can easily put your... Nope, wrong way. Engine covers on, like that. Take them off. Spin up the engines by hand. And I'm fairly certain, I don't know if 100%, so don't quote me on it, but I believe in the walk around the pre-flight, you do want to very slowly spin the propellers just to make sure everything is free in the gas generator portion of the turbine. Not gas generator, in the gearbox is what I meant, I'm sorry. It's a turbo shaft. No, it's not, it's a turboprop. I meant what I said. These flap tracks, very, very interesting design. The Starship being a delta wing, when the flaps are fully retracted, they actually go kind of up and flush with the wing like that there. But as they come out, they ride up and along this track, and you can see that for all the multiple flap stations out there. Love the vortex generator detail. Those look very good. There is no ability to move the control surfaces in the sim, which I don't care about, like externally, I mean. But that I could care less, honestly. On all, it looks great on the outside. Overall, a few caveats, but anything at this distance is going to look perfectly fine. Let's head inside. So now inside of the Beech Starship, you see I've got our control lock installed. That's actually one thing I was going to check, is if I remove that control lock, you see I still can't do anything with my control surfaces. Ooh, frame rate. Come back. Thank you. Yeah, still can't do anything, so. Back inside. We'll put that gust lock back in place, and let's just take a look at some of the Easter eggs in this Starship. There's a decent handful of them, one of which is back here. You can see we've got our wheel chocks, so if we want to stay inside of the airplane and put on the wheel chocks, that's where they are. You just click them, they go in place, and then if you want to remove them, you just click away there. But you have this really nice closing guy here. You do have functioning no smoking and fasten seatbelt signs, as well as when you have power on the airplane, you've got a reading light. These switches down here also work once you've got power. In fact, let's turn on ground power. I wanted to wait on the tablet because, boys, this tablet is something else. It's not new to Black Square. They've been doing it for a while. But I absolutely love it. So there's our external power. You can hear the generator running outside. There we go. So we've got power on the airplane now. You can see those are our gear pins. So if we want to just put in the gear pins from the cockpit, we can. I don't know if this actually has functionality or not, but you can insert a floppy disk into here to do a nav update. Again, no idea if that's actually functional, but little stuff like that makes my day. With power on, it's a little bit light out, so you're not really going to be able to see much. Maybe we'll make it we'll make it dark towards the end, but you can see there's my individual reading lights. You've got the overhead lights for the seating, and then there should be walkway lights somewhere. I'm not sure how that works, but nonetheless. And then all of these also function as well. One thing I do want to showcase is, let's make sure all my throttles are all back. As I add different loads to the airplane, keep an ear on the GPU outside. So let's get some high load things, right? Let's add our heating. See how the RPMs went up? And they go back down. If I set my engine to motor, take a listen. And the same thing for the instrumentation. So that's very cool. I love all of that. And you could hear all those different sounds as we turn stuff on. Let's go through the sound profile now. We'll go ahead and close that external door. And get us a better sound profile here. So right now we are just on ground power. Let's turn on that alternate avionic blur. And I need my ICAS. Well, that's coming on. I think you might have heard it already, but the fasten seatbelt bong. Love that. Nav lights, direct, cockpit, I don't need that. Cockpit lighting. Alright, this should get here. Let's just brighten that up just a little bit. All of these displays are individually brightenable. Brightenable? That's a word. Anyway, let's take a listen to the sound profile, starting with the throttles. Very nice sound suite, and that's not even including any of the auto alerts and warnings, that sort of stuff. We'll take a listen to that in a little bit. One thing I do want to do, we'll come back to our tablet here. This thing, this is amazing. I love this, and like I said, it's not new to the King Air, but to the Starship. But it's fantastic. So you got this tablet here. You can set all your different options. Payload, that's where you would do if you didn't want to click around in the back like I was doing with the chocks and the gear pins and all that sort of stuff. You can do all that straight here. That's where I turn on the engine power. This is so cool, though. I love this. So this is a visual representation of the engines. Now, I'm just going to drag this over here because I can do that with this. It's super cool. And when I set the right engine to motor, you can see I'm getting cold air and rotation in on the... Isn't that cool? Look at that. Then as I turn the starter off, see our engine-driven pumps are slowing down, all of our airflow is stopping, and eventually our gearboxes and that sort of stuff stops. It's the same thing if I turn on my inertial separator. Watch this vane here. It moves up, and this one moves down, because that's what the inertial separator does, to spill over any FOD. It tells you what type of FOD you might be encountering. Rain, ice, rocks, and debris. It's the same thing with the electrical system. Right now, actually no, I can show you the starter relay again. This poor right engine starter is having a hard time. So you get it. Same thing with the cabin. It's 107 degrees in here right now. That's hot. Let's get the blowers going, but it's not really going to do much if we don't have any cooler air to blow through. So let's run through the startup. You can see we're at 102 degrees in the avionics bay as well. So let's start up the Starship and get things cooled down. I've taken the liberty of reopening that external door. At least I think I did. No, I didn't. Open you. There we go. And as I open the door, I'm not touching anything else. Just open that door. You see we're already down from 106, now we're down to 105. So it's very, there goes another degree off the Celsius. Very, very, very susceptible to changes. You know, you can see we've got slightly cooler air sitting in our evaporator core. So I open up my pilot there. There we go. There's another degree lost. Now this air in here is going to come and warm up the air that's in the evaporator. So the only thing we can do now is we'll start the engines to get bleed air going to them. Let's go standby pumps on. And when we go to the engine, you can see there's my standby pump, which is now providing fuel pressure to the engine fuel filter and into the FCU. We're going to go props to full. And here comes the start. You can see those igniters going. There's 18. Fuel. Light off. Alright, that is our first engine started. Let's turn on the generator and the bleed air for the right engine. There we go. So now the AC compressor is working to do its thing. It's warming up. The air on the hot side getting cool air on the cool side. And we're already below 100. Let's turn on our co-pilot's air as well. I can't reach it from here. That's fine. We'll be fine. And here come the rest of the avionics. Now, we're not going to go through all of these, but you can see this is a very, very early, this was actually one of the first glass panel displays. That was one of the things with the Starship. The big things were the composite construction, one of the first aircraft to do composites, one of the first aircraft to have a full glass cockpit, the pusher turboprop designs, the canards, so a lot of firsts on the Starship. But nonetheless, I'm going to stop talking here and we'll get to the flying portion of this. Sound good? Sound good. Sounds? Sounds. Now, during this taxi, you're going to be hearing a abrupt change in the pitch of the propellers. You can see I've got beta indications there, right? The Beech Starship makes so much forward thrust, much like, I think it was the Gulfstream 650, and some versions of the King Air, that there had to be a taxi beta range basically put in to throw the engines into a gentle reverse. Because at idle, which my engines are at idle right now, you can see we're just cruising up in speed, which we don't want. So that's what that beta range is for. Just long taxi back this way, and we'll get set up for a takeoff. Alright, and rolling up on our turnaround spot in Starship. Nice long runway, so we won't have to worry about that little bit of reduced engine performance with the heat today. Outside air temperature of 29 Celsius today in Wichita. That is pretty dang warm. Power set, brakes off. Airspeed is alive. Zero knots. And through 95, 100. Let's go fly. Good rate. Let's stab the Rick's gear coming out. You can see the canards transitioning aft. Honestly, I didn't even know they did that. That's so cool. Let's take a look outside. Alright, we're clear of the ground now, so let's turn off our inertial separators. Fly off into this weather here. While we're on our climb out here, one of the things I do really love about the Starship is because it's that same sort of older legacy era aircraft, You do still stay really dang busy. You've got your pressurization down there that you have to maintain. You're constantly keeping an eye on your engine parameters. There is an autopilot on this, so once you get set at cruise, you can relax for, you know, the entire time until your descent. There's a lot to monitor, and added to that is the tablet here. So we were already looking at the temperature situation and all that. On the left engine, we had the hot start because I forgot to move my condition lever to off. So we melted some of the turbine blades. You see I've got an 80% condition as compared to the 100%. So I can repair the engine. Yes, 100%. And there's all the kinds of stuff, changing the batteries and all that. There's also a failures list that you can actively change. Huge list of stuff that you can fail. So, love that. Again, you can see all your engine stuff in real time. We've now got the initial separator or inertial separator closed. Cabin's cooling down nicely. You do have functioning sun visors as well, both sides, so if you want them, do the thing. There we go. If you want them down to the side like that, you can do that. Otherwise, they can go in front of you, like so. The lighting in this aircraft is partially affected by the FS bug, FS2024 bug, that being it sucks. It's not great during the daytime, so I currently have almost all of my external lighting on, I believe. So we've got the wing landing lights, the wing lights, the nav, and the strobes on. You can't really see any of them. At least not during the day. If we go ahead and fast forward, reverse back to nighttime, looks a heck of a lot better. You can see the wing lights, you can see the landing lights casting, you can see the strobes if we find a cloud to fly into, which there's none nearby, but there's a very nice strobe casting effect as well. So from that aspect, the Starship looks great. Same thing with the downwash cast, and this is obviously, I set this up for daytime, so everything is glaringly bright, but you get the idea. Cabin lighting, that's full cabin lighting. I can turn off the overhead and aisle lights. So if you want like a dark cabin that, you know, one or two people has a reading light on, you can do that. Like so. You can do just the aisle lights, which lights up the center there. It's the lights on the ground, so people don't trip and fall. Anyway, let's start a descent here. We'll get tucked back in towards the ground here. Actually, no, while we're up here, let's go through a flight profile of what the airplane handles like when it gets out of hand. I actually don't know myself, so let's do that. So I think this is as good of a spot as any to do our flight profile. First off, I want to show you the FOD indicator. You can see we've got 12% FOD. We got some rain going into the engine. Oh no, not rain. So 13% type rain, and then as we clear the cloud, it goes back down to 0. All right, 14,000 feet. We are well above our 12.5 for safe operations. Let's put the Starship into a gentle stall so we can remedy that. Here are alert for our engines being in the idle detent. I'll advance them just a little bit to cancel that detent alert. And just like always, we're going to hold 10 degrees nose up till the airplane falls out of the sky. A little bit bumpy up here. There's 100 knots. Should be getting a stall horn in a second here. There's the stick shaker. It doesn't really Stall, it just kind of pushes itself into the ground. I think the canards help with that. Let's try a more aggressive stall, and we'll pitch for 20 degrees. Nay, 30. Let's double it. I realize that going to 30 is not actually doubling it. Leave me alone. Bad at math. Yeah, just the stick shakers. Yeah, it's doing its thing. That's the whole point of the stick shaker. So, and I think there's a horn cutout too if I want to. Yeah. So back down we go. We'll set up for a pattern entry. And then a left touch and go, or left touch and go. Yeah, I guess we'll do left traffic. No, we're going to do right traffic. We'll do touch and go, then right traffic for full stop. Sounds good? Sounds good. Alright, and back overhead, the Beechcraft factory. Let's go to land on runway 19er, I believe. I've seen at least one Beech Starship. I'm not sure if it's two because it was... I don't know if it was the same aircraft back to back each year at AirVenture or if it was two different ones. But I have seen a Beech Starship, a flying active, one of the 5 in the flesh. And it's just such a cool, unique looking airplane. I do understand all of the hardships that Beechcraft went through with this. I think they had to redesign the airframe. It was super overbuilt. Not redesigned, but super overbuilt because the FAA kept changing the classification. There was issues with its maximum service ceiling being 41,000 feet. Then I think they had to lower it to 36,000 from the FAA when actually you can do 41,000 again. Tons of stuff like that. Basically like the Lexus LFA, if you guys are into cars of the aviation world, if you will. So I don't know if they really ever made a lot of money on these. The warranty aspect of it definitely cost them money in the long run. This was, I almost think it was too early for its time. So if you think of other, what's a composite airplane with full glass displays and large amounts of automation never seen before? Oh, this Cirrus SR series, the SR20, the 22, the 22 GTS, so on and so forth. One of the most successful airplanes. I mean, it's an expensive airplane, but it's a good airplane. Flight schools are using the SR20, I believe. Probably 22s also. So, it's unfortunate. I don't think we'll ever see something like the Starship come around again. Just because nowadays single engine turboprops like the M600, the TBM like we talked about, they kind of rule the space, the PC-12. You know, no matter what you might need, there's a single engine turboprop that can get the job. Oh, hello frame rate. Goodbye frame rate. Yeah, you don't save flight sim? What are you doing? Stab by the brakes. We'll do right traffic this time. It's not normally what you would do, but it's what we're gonna do. It's my imagination, what I would imagine a twin pusher prop delta wing airplane with canards would fly like. I don't know, I think they nailed it. It's not the same as like the King Air or a PC-12, but it's still manageable. See if we get frame rate drop. We do not. Yes, we do. There's always frame rate drop in Flight Sim. But we made the turn safely. Brakes are probably a little bit warm. That's another thing you can check. Bada bing, using the tablet. They're actually not warm at all. Nice and cool like. Well, anyway, folks, that is the Beechcraft Starship by Black Box Simulations. A fantastic addition to the sim. I have been and will continue to be flying this all over the world. Probably, I was going to say over the country. No, probably all over the world. And it's opened my eyes to Black Box Simulations. There was a few aircraft that they made a little while ago that I was really interested in, and I just never pulled the trigger on. I'm locked and loaded now, man. We're going to bang bang. Like, we're going to be squeezing them off going forward. So look forward to that, but until then, I will see you guys in the next one. And thank you very much for watching this one. I do dearly appreciate it. But until then, as always, take it easy. What a great airplane.